Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast. We have an amazing guest for you today. She is an industry thought leader, an expert networker. She is a leading recruiter. Hold that, I should say, leading relationship builder. She's a taco aficionado, a media partner, and a dear friend. Welcome back to the show, Dalila Ramos. Dalila, it is great to have you back.
It's always great to be on, and you have the bestest intros. Like the best. I need you. If I go home first, you're gonna intro my funeral. I'm gonna need you to send me off real nice, okay?
All right, it will be a big booming intro. All right. So we got to see each other in Philadelphia or at MBA Annual. We'll talk about all our recordings and all that in a sec, but what were some of the key takeaways you got from MBA Annual in Philly?
You got me. So the first thing that was kind of on everyone's top of the conversations, we were having conversations, and it was actually talked about on one of our videos when we were doing the whole Monday session, right? Was it's either two things. It's either doom and gloom, right? It's doom and gloom. We're not closing anything. The industry is, just not going well. And then you have the complete opposite, right? Where it is opportunities. They are looking at more strategic growth. They're looking at this downtime as a good time to reflect and see how they're going to move in 2024.
Well, I love that you started with that one and you mentioned that because guess what? We're in the same conditions and it was two totally different responses.
Yep.
Right? Like you said, doom and gloom, or people that are saying, hey, yeah, it's a tough market, but let's gain market share. Let's deliver some new innovation. Let's really bring a new strategy to the market that is going to help us and help, our target audience. So I agree with you. I think some of the takeaways for me would be, besides that mindset of doom and gloom or opportunity, is people's approach to trade shows. And you've talked about this, so I'm going to bring this up in a second. And
Did I bring it up?
Well, so let's talk trade shows and conferences. And I think why people listen to us is they know we're going to be genuine.
Yes.
I'm not here to bash any conference, any organization or anything. I think every organization could always do a better job bringing more people to their conference and more importantly to the conference show floor for all of the vendors and do more things for the vendors.
Yes.
But let's take that out of the equation for a second. I think one of the other problems is people use that as an excuse. Oh, it's a tough market and so-and-so organization didn't bring enough people to my booth. And what I always say is, well, how many damn meetings did you have booked before you got there? What do you mean? What was your plan and your strategy before you went to MBA, before you went to Housing Wire, before you went to Next? Did you send out emails? Did you follow up with phone calls? Did you schedule meetings? And a lot of the people that were the biggest bitchers and gripers didn't do any of that. So part of me wants to say, shut up, right? You can't complain if you didn't put in the work. Now, for those of you that put in the work and say, there wasn't as big a crowds as last year, the year before, or I wish there was some more engagement. There is truth to that, but I always want to paint both sides of the picture that while all of these conferences and organizations could hopefully do more to drive more lenders to the exhibit hall, it's also the responsibility of everyone who's exhibiting to do more. Give me your kind of take on that, because we've had a lot of discussions on this.
Yes. And I did, just so that you know, I did get that Taco Tuesday that I did after the MBA, and I talked about the exhibit floor. Of course, I knew it. They were not going to come into the comments and talk about it or put their opinion out there. But I did get a lot of messages in my inbox, and there's absolutely truth. And it was just a conversation. The topic was just a conversation starter. It wasn't to kind of bash anyone or anything.
Right.
Okay. Let's make that clear. I do think there is a responsibility from the trade show. Don't misunderstand me. There is a responsibility because these prices are really rough, right?
Right. And
Uh,
in a tough market,
yes,
every dollar counts. I get that.
that is correct. But if you know which MBA, let's be honest, it is one of the highest attended conferences within our industry across the board. I don't care what segment you are in. MBA is one of those that's going to be relatively highly attended. Even when it's low attended, it's still highly attended compared to
Right.
other.
Or one of the most attended shows every year, no matter what market conditions.
And that being said, there were some organizations that really did take different approaches. And I respect that. It's okay to kind of trial and error it. Yes, you get it? Like try it out and see if it works. If the booth is not working for you because there's no traction, which don't misunderstand me, just because you have a booth, you have to set up meetings. And when I tell you you set up meetings, you need to do it also in an appropriate time frame because when folks figured out that I was registered to the conference, I had a slew of them reaching out to me. I even had a couple call me, which I was really shocked, like on my phone, right? But it
Yep.
was mostly email. And it was only days leading up to the conference. Yo, you don't think I was already busy? You
So,
don't think
so
that I
let's
was already busy? Like,
let's talk about that. I think because that's really what I want to get into. First of all, in my opinion, not all trade shows are created equal.
it's correct.
And your strategy and approach should not be the same for every conference and trade show.
Nope.
Some trade shows you need a booth and you need the visibility, and maybe you have a product launch and you really want that visibility. Other shows you need to have a lot of conferences and you're trying to generate leads. And so first and foremost, what I would say to all marketers out there, all companies that are looking to exhibit or looking to attend any of these shows, because first and foremost, I think both of you and I would agree, you have to have a presence at all of these events.
Yes.
A presence. Now, with that, it could be exhibit, it might not be exhibit, it could be a suite, it might be a booth and a suite, it might not. But once you have that, then we've got to start going through what is your strategy. And I'm going to bring this up not to toot our own horn, but to show as an example, we got on this very early, right?
Yep.
And we started emailing and we started promoting what we were doing. And guess what?
Yeah.
When we started doing that in early August, people are like, wow, that's super early. Why are you promoting your event? Why are you? That's what you have to do months in advance. But guess what? How many videos did we shoot just on Monday alone?
Over 50.
So
Over 50.
over 50 videos. So there was over 25, 26 individuals, companies that wanted to meet with you and I at MBA Annual, correct?
Correct.
And so when people say it was a terrible show or I didn't get enough traction or not enough people wanted my product, I kind of look at it and say, well, how much work did you put in? When you put in the work, and you've got to start early, months in advance to all these shows. We've got ICE Experience coming up in March. Hello, everyone. Start preparing now. You've got to get your emails out. You've got to start making connections in November and December. And don't forget, there's the holidays. There's Thanksgiving. There's Christmas. There's New Year's. There's a lot more distractions. You've got to start doing that now. And then when you start reaching out, you have to have something of value.
Yes.
The days of, hey, Dalila, do you want a demo? Do you want a demo? I got a really cool product. Do you want a demo? That doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. It's like, when someone sends me a connection on LinkedIn and then right away, instantly when I accept it,
Hammered.
they're trying to sell me, I immediately delete those. I immediately delete
A
those.
lot of times I'll unfollow. Not only do I delete, I'll unfollow. The new one that I love that you brought this up is the algorithm is telling me that we should connect. Your name continues to pop up and they go through this whole thing. And if you accept those, you normally get hard sold real hard. It's just a blank connection.
And that was the whole thing about our session, right? That was the point of our session. It really was to collaborate, to get some video, to give you content, and to have fun, right? If I hadn't seen you in a long time, this was an opportunity and an intimate opportunity to see you, because sometimes when you're on the floor or you're passing by, there's so many people and you get distracted and you really can't say what you want to say. Let's be honest. There's some conversations I wanted to be had, and I could not say them because there were so many people.
People around.
That space was an opportunity to do that. And so and there was intent behind it. It wasn't.
Well, so let's talk about it. So we did
Yeah.
our pop-up studio in Philadelphia. We had two different settings. We had one that was more of a newsroom. We had one that was the backdrop of Philadelphia, kind of that fireside chat. We joked about that some. But what we wanted to do was show the power of video and give back to the industry, so that not only in a tough year could you and I give back. The mortgage industry has been very good to us over the years. We've both been in the industry 20 plus years. We'll leave it just at 20 plus. We don't have to go any further than that. And we wanted to give back, but in giving back, we wanted to also demonstrate the power of video. When people can see your passion,
Yep.
when people can see how you start talking about your product or service, or one of the questions I asked a lot of, how is that adding value to the industry? And you could see people get excited. That is what moves the needle in today's tough market, by one, not only having brand awareness, but two, getting your story told in a very dynamic and unique way. What are some of the key takeaways you saw in the videos and in a lot of the people that you talked to?
So, some of the key takeaways were how they're approaching 2024. That was one of the questions I constantly asked. What's to come for 2024, right? God willing. Or what are you guys planning? And again, none of this was scripted. So
Right.
the fact that it wasn't scripted was great, because they had to instantly kind of tell the truth and answer the question. And it was either they were going to lean in and really just focus on their marketing. That was a big thing. Presence, marketing, really gearing up. And there was one, oh God, and I'm so sorry, I don't know like the company or the name, but there was one that really said, we're going to just continue to work on our existing clientele, like their existing relationships. They were
Yep.
just going to make them stronger and better. And I thought, I'm like, that's wonderful, right? Like
See,
that was a
I
great.
agree. People talked about some of their new innovations. People
Yes.
talked about how they're going to really foster and grow their current relationships and really take care of their customers in a little bit of a slower
Exactly.
market. Like you said, the brand awareness, I think, was critical. And I think what we talked about is a lot of the people we interviewed are the ones leaning in and excited about 2024.
Yep.
Yep, there's going to be some more hiccups. There's going to be some more road bumps that we're going to have to go over. But in leaning forward, they're saying, here's some new innovation we can bring to the industry. Here's what we're excited about. I had Roy George did a great job. For any vendor listening to this, go back and listen to his, because what I asked him was what he thought of vendor demos. And unfortunately, more than half of them are terrible. They're garbage. And what he talked about was, here's how they start. We do this, we do that. They're beating their hands on their chest about how awesome they are, because here's what people told them. You've got to establish credibility first. So you start telling, here's all the 50 things we do. Here's how many awards we won. And guess what? People don't care about that
They don't care.
until you connect with them. And he said, when
Oh,
somebody has read my website, when somebody knows what kind of loan programs that we offer, and you start tailoring what it is I do to how you could help solve some of those pain points, that's who wins. It's
yeah.
not rocket science, but for whatever reason, everyone has told people, Start off with a boring PowerPoint. Tell them that you've been in business for over 50 years or 100 years, or your combined experience of your leaders is, 5,052, years. And people don't want to hear that. They want to know, hey, I see that you do FHA lending. I see that you do VA lending. One of the struggles with VA lending is X, Y, and Z. Here's how our product or our solution addresses that. That's power.
Yes.
That's information. That's why we want it to share.
I can't, I'm getting tongue-tied because just this morning during my prayer time, that was one of the things I started my routine, my prayer routine was being thankful for the ability to relationship, right? I feel like not that I feel, I know that's one of my God-given talents is the ability to relationship, because the truth is sometimes, the services will come, right? The products will come, but I want to know more about you. Like, how did you come to where you're at? Tell me a little bit about your story. Do you live here? Where do you live? Like what kind of tacos you like? Like that are my like.
But when people share that, what you're doing is you're building that relationship. People don't want to just hear the product you have. They want to say, why did your company form? Well, hey, it was in 2008. It was a tough market and what people were looking for. Then that's much more relatable. And as we talk about,
Yes.
I'll use the term recruiting because it at least gives people a category. And I know you hate that term, but it's really about building those relationships and finding the right fit. Tell me a little bit about, from an MBA Annual perspective, from some of the things you're working on now, what are some of the most important aspects of relationship building as it relates to recruiting and getting your top candidates?
Okay, so like recruiting is my jam, right? So one of the things I like to do when I'm recruiting is know who I'm recruiting, like know who I'm talking to and talk to them. So I always say that recruiting is like dating and or AK, like I even say stalking. I know it's bad, but like, right? So I know get to know my prospect before even calling them, before even having that like first initial conversation. And I go on social media and I Google them and I want to find out, like, do they have kids, right? What kind of food that they like? What passion, like all that stuff to see if there's some kind of connection, what kind of sports, right? Do they
Yep.
think that the greatest NBA player is MJ or LeBron? After that, we will never talk ever again.
Well, but
Like
Dalila, the same
it's
things that you just talked about as it relates to recruiting and relationship building are the same things that Roy George said about giving a good demo. If you take the time, and everyone, all the vendors out there have time right now,
yeah,
right? Lenders have time to look at software and look at technology and efficiencies. It's do a little research. Spend a little bit of time instead of just showing up for a demo and this is what I always show, this is the deck I always use, to find out about that company, find out about the executives. For you, you want to find out about the candidates. What drives them? What motivates them? As I coach, that's what I always ask. Tell me about yourself. What are you trying to accomplish? It's not just about I want to close more transactions.
no,
So
I'm telling you, it will come. It will come, but you have to relationship first.
So you and I rarely kind of push our products and services. We're dedicated to adding value to the industry, and hopefully a lot of those insights we've shared really do that. But let's talk a little bit about the power of video and some of the things we have to offer, because a lot of people are like, oh, I didn't know I could get you and Dalila on a video with me, or I didn't know I could be a guest on Taco Tuesday, or how do I get a part of FinTech Hunting or Amplify? So talk first about the power of video and then talk a little bit about why we have these packages and why it's such a great opportunity to help people magnify their story.
Well, because we are now as a society, how we absorb information, and these are facts. This isn't like a feeling. There are stats and numbers. Numbers are facts, right? to prove what I'm saying right now. We as a society as a whole now absorb our information differently. Back in the day, it used to be telephone and like mail
Where
and
you'd read an article, you do some
articles,
research that
right?
way. Yep.
Now it's different. It's video. It is text messaging. Um, and I mean, the number one search engine is Google, followed by YouTube, which is number two, which YouTube is all videos. So how we're getting our information is completely different than how we're used to. And of course, the younger generations are absorbing it different. So you have to do video in order for them to get that information and then take it in and absorb it. And then, of course, be consistent with it. You have
Yep.
to be consistent with who you are, what you represent, your services, what you do. There's kind of like a rotation about it. And you
Okay. So
have to
let me
be
ask you some quick questions. I'm going to fire these at you very fast because these are objections you and I hear all the time.
yeah,
Oh, I don't have all kinds of fancy equipment and everything else. How am I going to shoot videos?
through your phone, iPhone, Team iPhone. If you have an Android, okay.
Perfect. Oh, and Dalila, for those 50 plus videos we shot in Philadelphia, what did we use? The quality was phenomenal and everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, I just don't know what to say. I don't look a certain way. I want it to be perfect. How do you overcome that?
So, first of all, speak from your heart. That's always what I tell people, especially if you're a C-suite or a CEO. If you cannot speak from your heart about your company, where you came from, how it came about, who you are, then you are in the wrong company, position, industry, whatever. If you cannot tell me in like 2.5 minutes how you got to where you are and why, you need to exit stage left.
Right.
And I'm serious.
Well, and I think one of the other things that people always ask about, or they say, okay, Michael and Dalila, you've convinced me video's pretty easy to do. I can do it on my camera. I should have some decent lighting, or I should have a decent microphone. But I think the other advantage of using a service like ours, whether it's our Amplify videos or FinTech Hunting, our Taco Tuesdays, a lot of the trade show booth takeovers, or the videos we do at conferences, is the fact that not only should you be doing video, but if you have one follower and you shoot a video, you have one person who could have seen the video. Who cares?
Yeah.
Part of the power in using our networks is twofold, the way I see it. We have over 50,000 followers on all of our platforms.
Yes, we do.
So a lot of people are seeing that. And then secondly, and I think even more important, because a lot of people will tout they have all kinds of followers, our followers are highly engaged.
Yes. They're
Because we're providing value, we're providing insights. We want people to share their stories and talk. And part of what we're doing on this is to share with people, we can help you. If you're looking to make a big splash at ICE 24, ICE Experience 24, or any conferences next year, we're here. We'll show you how to do the videos. We'll interview you. We'll put you on FinTech Hunting. We'll do a Taco Tuesday with you. We can do booth takeovers. Get it on your marketing budget now. And I can honestly say our prices are some of the most cost-effective out there. Dalila and I do this as a way to give back. Yes, we cover some of our time and our cost, but we're not out there to make millions off of people shooting the videos. We want more people and their videos out there because that's what's going to help move the industry forward. Dalila, you and I could go on this subject for hours. What do you want to end with? We've talked about the power of video. We talked about conferences. What are some of the things, whether it's from a recruiting perspective, relationship building, or whether it's from using any of our services in 2024, what would you end with?
So I'm going to end it here. And the lawnmower guy decided to, it's my neighbor, Robert. Okay. So if you hear him in the back. So this is how I'm going to end it. One of the reasons why you should use Michael and I is we know the industry. We are mortgage. I am mortgage. I was an originator. I was an AE. I did title. I processed. Michael ran a whole company. right? Knows
Yep.
mortgage technology. He knows credit unions. When I tell you, between Michael and I, we know pretty much every single channel within our industry. I mean, it's 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 amazing. And I get a little frustrated, I'm going to be honest, okay, when companies hire people that don't know the industry. And I could tell by their digital marketing and what I see, and it is, ugh.
Well, and the worst part is we can help them.
Yeah,
And I think the way I would end it, Delilah, and it's great partnering with you, is
of course. Thank you.
at the end of the day, the most important thing to both of us is how do we add value to others and how do we help companies get their story told in a unique, dynamic way so that it can drive more awareness, so it can help them get more leads, so it can help them grow relationships. And at the end of the day, if they have a great product, a great service, our videos and how we can help them are going to help them close more business.
Yes.
Delilah, it's great partnering with you. It was
Oh, it's
awesome
great.
seeing you in Philly. Thank
Yep.
you so much for being a guest on this episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast.
Bye, guys.